She thought one innocent sip of water would quench her thirst, but instead, it ignited a viral scandal that would expose her to millions of strangers who decided she was a gold digger before they even knew her name. He was Boston's most feared billionaire, a man so cold that even his own employees whispered about the ice in his veins, until a black fitness instructor accidentally invaded his world and cracked the fortress around his heart. What started as public humiliation at a lakeside park spiraled into secret training sessions, forbidden feelings, and a manipulative ex-fiancé hell-bent on destroying them both with fake photos and calculated lies. The internet called her a thief, his ex called her a nobody, but when the cameras started rolling and the truth finally erupted in front of everyone, the world learned that sometimes the most beautiful love stories begin with the most humiliating mistakes. Subscribe right now and tell me in the comments, have you ever been misjudged by people who didn't know your story? Because what happens next will prove that courage and love can survive even the cruelest spotlight. The morning air felt cool against Naomi's skin as she jogged along the lakeside trail. Boston was just waking up. The sun painted the water gold and pink. She loved this time of day. No crowds, no noise, just her feet hitting the path and the sound of birds singing in the trees. She'd been running this route for 3 years. Every tree, every bench, every stone felt like an old friend. This was her time to think, to breathe, to forget about the bills stacked on her kitchen counter and the clients who sometimes cancelled at the last minute. Her legs burned in that good way, the way that meant she was alive and strong. She slowed to a walk near her favorite bench, the one with the view of the whole lake. Someone had left a water bottle there, a nice one. Sleek black metal with a silver cap. Naomi glanced around. The path was empty. She was so thirsty. Her own bottle sat in her car, 10 minutes away. Surely whoever left this wouldn't mind if she took just one sip. She picked up the bottle. It was still cold. She unscrewed the cap and drank deeply. The water tasted perfect, clean and icy. "Excuse me." The voice behind her was sharp, cold as winter wind. Naomi spun around, water bottle still in her hand. A man stood there, tall and broad-shouldered, wearing expensive running gear. His skin was pale, his jaw tight. His eyes, ice blue and piercing, looked at her like she'd just committed a crime. "That's mine," he said. Her face went hot. "Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought someone left it behind. You just took what wasn't yours." His tone made her stomach twist. Not angry, exactly. Worse, disappointed, like she was a child caught stealing candy. "I said I was sorry." Naomi set the bottle down on the bench, her hands trembling slightly. "I'll buy you a new one. Do you know who I am?" She looked at him again, really looked. Something about his face seemed familiar. Had she seen him on a billboard? In a magazine at the dentist's office? "Should I?" she asked. His eyebrows lifted, just barely, like he couldn't believe she didn't recognize him. "Forget it," he said. He grabbed the bottle, his fingers careful not to touch hers. "Just watch what you touch." He turned and jogged away, fast, like he couldn't get away from her quick enough. Naomi stood there, stunned, her heart hammered in her chest. Not from the run, from the way he'd looked at her, like she was nothing. "Jerk," she muttered under her breath. But even as she said it, she felt embarrassed. She had taken his water, that was wrong, even if it was an accident. She jogged back toward her car, trying to shake off the encounter. Some people just had bad mornings. Maybe he'd had a fight with his girlfriend. Maybe his coffee had spilled, whatever. She'd never see him again. By the time Naomi reached the gym where she worked, her phone was buzzing like crazy. 3 missed calls from Tasha, 7 text messages, all in capital letters. "Girl, where are you? Check Instagram, you're famous, OMG, call me now." Naomi's stomach dropped. She sat in her car in the parking lot and opened Instagram with shaking fingers. Her notifications had exploded. Hundreds of messages from strangers, tags in posts she didn't recognize. She clicked on one. The video loaded. It showed her at the bench that morning, picking up the water bottle, drinking. Then the man, that cold, angry man, walking into frame. The camera was far away, probably someone's phone zoomed in, but you could see everything. Her guilty face, his stern expression, her trying to apologize, him walking away. The caption made her feel sick. "Waitress steals water from billionaire CEO Ethan Royce. The audacity. Rich people problems Ridey caught." Waitress? She was a fitness instructor. And billionaire? That guy? The video had 50,000 views already. The comments were brutal. She knew exactly what she was doing. Gold digger caught in 4K Elmao. Why do people think they can touch rich people's stuff? He's too nice. I would have called security. Naomi's hands shook so hard she almost dropped her phone. Her throat felt tight. Her eyes burned. This couldn't be happening. She was a private person. She didn't even like posting selfies. And now thousands of strangers were judging her, laughing at her, calling her names. Her phone rang. Tasha. Hello? Naomi's voice came out hoarse. Babe, are you okay? I've been trying to reach you for an hour. I just saw it. It's everywhere. Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Someone even made a meme. Tasha's voice was gentle, worried. What happened? Naomi explained the whole thing. The bench, the water, the misunderstanding. It sounded even worse out loud. He barely said anything to me, Tash, and now I'm the villain in some internet drama? You're not the villain. You made a mistake. That's it. This'll blow over in a day or two. But it didn't blow over. By noon, the video had 200,000 views. Local news websites picked it up. Mystery woman in viral confrontation with CEO Ethan Royce. Entertainment blogs dissected every frame. People on Twitter debated whether she'd done it on purpose to get his attention. Naomi's clients started texting. Some were supportive. Others cancelled their sessions. I don't want drama, one woman wrote. Sorry. By the end of the day, Naomi deleted all her social media accounts. She couldn't take it anymore. The comments, the accusations, the way strangers felt entitled to tear her apart over a sip of water. She went home and cried in the shower until the water ran cold. The next morning, Naomi almost didn't go to work, but she needed the money. Bills didn't pause for public humiliation. She taught her 8 a.m. spin class with a fake smile plastered on her face. The clients were kind enough not to mention the video, but she caught them whispering, glancing at her. She felt like an animal in a zoo. After class, she headed to the front desk to grab her water bottle. Ironic, she thought bitterly, when Mrs. May called out to her. Naomi, honey, you have a visitor. Mrs. May was 65, round and warm like a grandmother from a storybook. She ran the gym with a mix of tough love and endless optimism. She was also one of the only people who hadn't treated Naomi differently since the video. A visitor? Naomi frowned. I don't have any appointments until 10. Not a client. Well, you'll see. Mrs. May's eyes twinkled with mischief. That couldn't be good. Naomi walked toward the lobby and froze. Ethan Royce stood by the water fountain. He looked different in regular clothes. Dark jeans, a grey sweater that probably cost more than Naomi's rent. His hair was slightly messy, like he'd run his hand through it too many times. He held a water bottle, not his fancy black one, a cheap plastic one with a pink cap. Her water bottle. Miss Ellis? His voice was softer than before, less ice, more uncertainty. How do you know my name? She crossed her arms, suddenly very aware that she was sweaty and wearing old yoga pants. I asked around. He took a step closer. I believe this is yours. I picked it up by mistake yesterday morning. After everything, she stared at the bottle, at him. You came all the way here to return a $3 water bottle. I came to apologize. The words hung in the air between them. Naomi's anger, the anger she'd been carrying since yesterday, flickered, not gone, just confused. You could have just thrown it away, she said. I could have. He held out the bottle, but that wouldn't have been right. She took it. Their fingers didn't touch, but she felt the space between them like electricity. For what it's worth, he continued, his jaw tight like the words hurt coming out. I was harsh yesterday. You startled me. I don't like unexpected situations, but I didn't mean to cause all that trouble online. Naomi laughed. It came out bitter. You didn't cause it. Some stranger with a camera did, and the internet did. And everyone who decided I'm some kind of gold-digging waitress. She shook her head. But sure. Apology accepted. We're even now. She turned to walk away. Are you okay? The question stopped her. She looked back at him. His blue eyes weren't cold anymore. They looked almost human. Why do you care? She asked. Because I know what it feels like when strangers decide who you are. For a moment, just a moment, she saw something in his face. Something sad and tired and real. Then he blinked and the mask came back. I should go, he said. Again, I'm sorry. He walked out of the gym without looking back. Mrs. May appeared at Naomi's elbow. Well, 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 the famous Ethan Royce in our little gym, returning your bottle like a gentleman. He's not a gentleman, he's just guilty. Mm-hmm. Mrs. May's smile was knowing. Guilty men don't drive across town to return water bottles, sweetie. They send assistants. I'm not interested in him. I didn't say you were. Mrs. May patted her shoulder. But the universe is funny sometimes. It puts people in your path for a reason, Naomi groaned. Please don't go all cosmic on me today. But as she walked back to the locker room, she couldn't stop thinking about Ethan's eyes, about the sadness in them, about the way he'd said, "I know what it feels like." That night, Naomi sat on her couch with her sister Ruth on video chat. Ruth was 5 years older, fiercely protective, and extremely suspicious of everyone. "So let me get this straight," Ruth said, her face filling the phone screen. "This billionaire shows up at your job to apologize, to return my water bottle. That's not normal, Naomi." "I know it's not normal, but it happened." Naomi pulled her blanket tighter around her shoulders. "And now it's over. I'll probably never see him again." "Good. Rich men like that, they're nothing but trouble. Remember Marcus?" Naomi's stomach clenched at the name. Marcus, her ex, the man who'd sweet-talked his way into her life, borrowed her savings to invest in a business opportunity, and then disappeared. That was 2 years ago. She still hadn't fully recovered, not financially, and definitely not emotionally. "This isn't like Marcus," Naomi said quietly. "All men with money think they can buy whatever they want, including forgiveness." Ruth's voice was sharp, protective. "Just be careful. Promise me." "I promise. But seriously, Ruth, there's nothing to worry about. It was just a weird coincidence." After they hung up, Naomi tried to watch TV, but her mind kept drifting back to the gym, to Ethan standing there, awkward and formal, holding her cheap water bottle like it was made of glass. She picked up her phone, typed his name into Google. The results were overwhelming. Ethan Royce, 30 years old, CEO of Royce Technologies, net worth estimated at $2.3 billion, known for being reclusive, rarely gave interviews, never attended charity galas or public events. There were photos. Him in a suit at a conference, him shaking hands with a politician, him looking stern and untouchable in every single image. Then she found an old article, 5 years ago. "Billionaire CEO mourns death of sister in car accident." Naomi's chest tightened. The article was short. It said his younger sister, Emma, had died at 20, that Ethan had become noticeably withdrawn after, that he'd stopped making public appearances. She clicked out of the article. Suddenly she felt like she'd invaded something private, something painful. "I know what it feels like when strangers decide who you are." Now she understood what he meant. 2 days later, Naomi forced herself back to the lakeside trail. She couldn't let one bad experience steal her favorite place. She wouldn't give the internet that much power. The morning was cold. Frost clung to the grass. She wore her warmest running jacket and moved slow, warming up her muscles. She was halfway around the lake when she saw him, Ethan Royce, jogging toward her on the same path. For a second they both slowed, stopped, stared. "Hi," he said. "Hi." Awkward silence. "Do you run here often?" he asked, then winced. "Sorry, that sounded like a pickup line." Despite everything, Naomi smiled. "I run here every morning, usually earlier, before the world wakes up." Same. Another silence. But this one felt less heavy. "Well," Naomi said, "I should—" "The bench," Ethan interrupted. "Our bench. I mean the bench, where we—" He gestured vaguely. "Would you mind if I sat there, just for a minute? I'm more tired than I thought." "Our bench." The words made something flutter in her chest. Dangerous. "It's a public bench," she said carefully. "You don't need my permission." They walked to it together, sat on opposite ends. The lake stretched out before them, mirror-smooth and beautiful. "I should have labeled my bottle," Ethan said suddenly. Naomi glanced at him. "What?" "That morning. If I'd just written my name on it like a normal person, none of this would have happened." He looked at her, and for the first time she saw something soft in his expression, almost like a smile. "You wouldn't have accidentally committed the crime of the century." She laughed. Couldn't help it. "Is that what they're calling it? The internet has opinions." "The internet always has opinions." They sat in companionable silence. A duck paddled by on the water. The sun climbed higher. "Can I ask you something?" Naomi said. "Okay. Why are you really here? And don't say jogging. Boston has 1,000 running trails." Ethan was quiet for a long moment. His jaw worked like he was chewing on words he didn't know how to say. "This is the only place that feels quiet," he finally said. "Everything else in my life is loud. Meetings, decisions, people wanting things, but here," he looked out at the water, "here I can just breathe." Naomi understood that, more than he knew. "Me too," she said softly. He turned to her, really looked at her. Not like that first morning when he'd been angry. and not like at the gym when he'd been guilty. This was different. This was curious, interested, human. "I'm glad you still come here," he said, "despite everything. I'm stubborn." I noticed. Was he teasing her? The corner of his mouth twitched, almost a smile. Naomi stood up. This was getting too comfortable, too easy. Men like him didn't end up in the lives of women like her, not in any good way. "I should finish my run," she said. "Right, of course." He stood too. Maybe I'll see you around. Maybe." She jogged away, her heart beating faster than the exercise warranted. Behind her, she felt his eyes following. And despite every warning bell in her head, despite Ruth's voice telling her to be careful, despite Marcus and the pain and the lessons learned, she smiled. The next morning, Naomi saw him on the trail again, and the morning after that. They didn't plan it, didn't text or call, but somehow they kept ending up at the same bench at the same time, like the universe was playing matchmaker. On the fourth morning, Naomi arrived to find Ethan crouched on the ground near the path. He wasn't jogging. He was very still. "Ethan," she called out. He looked up, put a finger to his lips, then motioned her closer. She approached carefully and saw what he was looking at. A dog, small and brown with floppy ears. It was lying on its side, panting hard. One of its back legs was twisted at a wrong angle. "Oh no," Naomi whispered. "I think it's been hit by a bike," Ethan said quietly. His voice was gentle, completely different from that first morning. "Or it fell. I don't know. But it's hurt. We should call animal control. They'll take too long." He was already pulling off his expensive jacket. He laid it on the ground next to the dog. "Help me lift it, carefully." They worked together, slow and gentle. The dog whimpered but didn't try to bite. Naomi's heart broke at the trust in its brown eyes, like it knew they were trying to help. Ethan cradled the dog against his chest. "There's an emergency vet clinic 2 miles from here. I can drive. I'll come with you." She didn't know why she offered, didn't question it. They just moved together fast toward the parking lot where his car waited. His car was exactly what she'd expected. Sleek, black, probably worth more than her entire apartment building. But she didn't care about that right now. She cared about the dog trembling in Ethan's arms. They drove in tense silence. Ethan's jaw was tight, his hands gentle on the steering wheel, careful not to jostle the dog. At the clinic, everything happened fast. The vet techs took the dog immediately. Ethan gave them his credit card without blinking. "Whatever it needs," he said. "Money's not an issue." They sat in the waiting room. Plastic chairs, old magazines, the smell of antiseptic. Naomi watched Ethan. He stared at his hands. They were shaking slightly. "You did a good thing," she said. "It's just a dog. It's a life." He looked at her then, and she saw it again. That sadness, that grief he carried like a weight. "My sister loved dogs," he said quietly. "Emma. She wanted to open a rescue shelter someday. Said every creature deserved a chance." Naomi's throat tightened. "What happened to her?" "Car accident, 5 years ago. Drunk driver." His voice was flat, emotionless. Like he'd told the story so many times it had worn smooth. "She was 20, had her whole life ahead of her." "I'm so sorry." "Everyone's sorry." He leaned back in the chair, staring at the ceiling. "Sorry doesn't bring people back. Sorry doesn't fix anything." "No," Naomi agreed, "but it reminds us we're not alone." He looked at her, really looked, like he was seeing her for the first time. Before he could respond, the vet came out. The dog would be okay. Broken leg, some bruising, but it would heal. Ethan stood. "Can I pay for its care? Ongoing, until someone adopts it?" The vet smiled. "Of course, Mr. Royce." Outside, the sun was fully up now. The morning had passed in a blur. "Thank you," Ethan said to Naomi, "for coming with me. You didn't have to." "Yes, I did." "Why?" "Because you looked scared," she thought. "Because under all that ice, you're just a person who's been hurt. Because I know what it's like to build walls. Because it was the right thing to do," she said instead. They stood in the parking lot. The world moved around them. Cars, people, life happening. "I should get to work," Naomi said. "Yeah, me too." Neither of them moved. Then Ethan's phone buzzed. He looked at it and sighed. "My assistant, probably wondering where I am." He glanced at her. "Naomi, thank you for not treating me like a headline, for just being human." "You're welcome." He walked to his car, then stopped, turned back. "Would you want to grab coffee sometime?" "Just coffee, no pressure, just I'd like to talk to you when we're not saving injured animals." Naomi's heart did a dangerous flip. "I don't think that's a good idea." "Why not?" Because people already think I'm after your money. Because I'm still dealing with the fallout from that stupid video. Because I don't need more drama in my life. And if I don't care what people think, you should. You're famous. I'm nobody. You're not nobody. His voice was firm. And I'm tired of letting fear make my decisions. Naomi wanted to say yes. Wanted it so badly it scared her. But Ruth's warnings echoed in her head. And Marcus. And every lesson she'd learned about protecting herself. I can't, she said. I'm sorry. She walked away before he could argue, before she could change her mind. But that night, as she lay in bed staring at the ceiling, all she could think about was his hands, how gentle they'd been with that dog, how the ice in his eyes had melted when he talked about his sister. She grabbed her phone, almost texted him, then put it down. This was for the best. It had to be, even if it didn't feel like it. The universe, apparently, had other plans. 3 days later, Naomi was teaching her afternoon boot camp class when Mrs. May interrupted. She looked flushed, excited. Naomi, after class, my office, important. The hour dragged by. Her students did burpees, lunges, mountain climbers. Naomi went through the motions, but her mind was elsewhere. What could be so important? Finally, class ended. She toweled off her face and headed to Mrs. May's small office in the back. Ethan Royce sat in the chair across from Mrs. May's desk. Naomi stopped in the doorway. What? Hear him out, Mrs. May said, her eyes twinkling. And keep an open mind. Ethan stood. He looked uncomfortable, formal, back to the ice. I have a proposition, he said. Naomi crossed her arms. I already said, it's business, not personal. He pulled out his phone, showed her his screen, a poster for a charity marathon. I'm running in this, 3 months from now. It's for children's hospitals. My company sponsors it every year, but I've never actually participated. This year I want to. Good for you? I need a trainer. The words hung in the air. Naomi laughed, couldn't help it. You need a trainer, and you came to a random gym and you're not random, you're good at what you do. Mrs. May says you're the best trainer she's ever worked with, and... He paused, looked uncomfortable. I trust you. You don't know me. I know enough. You helped me with the dog. You didn't sell your story to the press, and you could have made money doing it. You're kind and honest. Those are rare qualities. Naomi looked at Mrs. May for help. The older woman just smiled. Think about it, honey, Mrs. May said. It's good money, and it'll show people you're professional, not some tabloid story. Ethan named a number, the amount he'd pay for 3 months of training. Naomi's knees went weak. That was more than she made in 6 months. That could pay off her credit cards. Build an emergency fund. Give her breathing room. I don't know, she said. I'll sign a contract, everything professional. Public training sessions at the park. Nothing private, nothing weird. Just help me get in shape for this race, please. He said please like it hurt, like he wasn't used to asking for things. Naomi thought about her bills, about Ruth, about her future, about how she'd spent 2 years rebuilding her life after Marcus, being careful, being safe. But she also thought about Ethan's hands on that injured dog, about the sadness in his eyes, about how maybe, just maybe, this was a chance, not for romance, for something simpler, a job, a fresh start. 3 months, she said, professional only, no personal stuff. And the first time the internet makes another video, I'm out. Deal. He held out his hand. She shook it. His grip was firm, warm, and Naomi felt her carefully built walls start to crack, just a little, just enough to let in something that felt dangerously like hope. The first training session was supposed to be at 6 a.m. Ethan showed up at 5:45. Naomi was already at the park, stretching near their bench. Their bench. She still thought of it that way, even though she knew she shouldn't. You're early, she said. Punctuality is important. He wore new running shoes, expensive ones, still had the tags on them. She smiled. Did you buy those this morning? He looked down at his feet. Maybe. You can't run a marathon in brand new shoes. They'll destroy your feet. You have to break them in slowly. Oh, he looked genuinely concerned. Should I go home and change? No, we're not running much today anyway. First session is about baseline. I need to see where you're at. She stood up, grabbed her clipboard. Professional. This was professional. We'll start with a warm-up walk, then some light jogging. Then I'll time you for a mile. Easy. Okay. They started walking the path. The morning was cool, quiet. A few other joggers passed by. Some did double takes when they recognized Ethan. One woman pulled out her phone. Naomi's stomach clenched. Maybe this was a mistake. Ignore them. Ethan kept his eyes forward. If we react, it gets worse. You sound like you know from experience. I do. They walked in silence for a few minutes. Then Naomi said, "Tell me about your running history. How often do you exercise?" "I run 3 times a week, usually 5 miles. I lift weights twice a week at my home gym." "So you're not a beginner?" "No, but I'm not a marathoner either. I've never run more than 6 miles at once." "A marathon is 26.2 miles. "I'm aware." He glanced at her. "That's why I need you." Something in his tone made her chest feel warm. She pushed it away. "Professional. Okay, let's see what you've got. When I say go, run your fastest mile. Don't hold back. I need to know your limits." She timed him. He took off fast. Too fast. She could see it in his form, the tension in his shoulders, the way his breathing got ragged after half a mile. He was running from something, not toward the finish line. He crossed the mile marker in 7 minutes and 30 seconds, then bent over, hands on his knees, gasping. "Not bad," Naomi said. "Liar." He coughed. "That was terrible. You're tense. You run like you're angry at the ground." He straightened up, still breathing hard. "What? Your form. It's all aggression. No flow. Running isn't about fighting, it's about rhythm. About working with your body, not against it. How do I fix it? Patience, breathing, learning to trust the process." She stepped closer, adjusting his shoulders. "Like this. Relaxed. Loose. You're not in a business meeting. You're just moving." Her hands on his shoulders felt electric. She pulled away quickly. "Try again. Slower this time. Focus on your breath. In through your nose, out through your mouth." They jogged together. She kept pace beside him, calling out reminders. "Relax your shoulders, that's good, feel the rhythm. You've got it." By the end of the hour, his form had already improved. He was sweating through his expensive shirt, his hair sticking up, and he looked more real than she'd ever seen him. "Same time tomorrow?" she asked. "I'll be here." As he walked to his car, he looked back at her. "Naomi, thank you for giving me a chance. Just doing my job." But they both knew it was more than that. The second week was harder, not physically, emotionally. They ran together 4 mornings a week. At first they barely talked, just breathing and footfalls and the sound of the lake. But slowly, things slipped out. Small things. Stories. One morning, Ethan told her about his first company, how he'd started it in his college dorm room, how everyone thought he'd fail. "But you didn't," Naomi said. "No, I was too stubborn." He smiled. Actually smiled. It transformed his whole face. "Emma used to say I was born without a quit button. She sounds like she was amazing." "She was." His smile faded. "She would have liked you." Naomi didn't know what to say to that, so she just ran faster. Another morning, she told him about Marcus. She didn't plan to. It just came out. "He seemed perfect at first, said all the right things, made me feel special. Then he borrowed $5,000 to invest in some business and disappeared." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Did you report him?" "He didn't technically steal it. I gave it to him. I was stupid." "You weren't stupid. You trusted someone. That's not the same thing." "It feels the same." He stopped running, turned to face her. "You're not stupid, Naomi. You're brave. Do you know how hard it is to trust people after you've been hurt? Most people never try again. They just shut down. Like you did," she thought, but didn't say. They stood there on the path, too close, his chest rising and falling, her heart doing dangerous things. "We should keep moving," she said. "Your heart rate is dropping." "Right, heart rate." But the way he looked at her said he wasn't thinking about exercise. By week 3, they were texting. It started innocently. Training schedules, reminders about stretching, tips for recovery. Then, "Ethan, I'm watching a documentary about ultra-marathons. These people are insane." "Naomi, you're about to run 26 miles. You're also insane." "Ethan, fair point." "And Naomi, what's your favorite food?" "Ethan, why?" "Naomi, training plan, need to know your diet." "Ethan, pizza." "I know that's boring." "Naomi, pizza is never boring." "What kind?" "Ethan, pepperoni, extra cheese, from this little place in the North End. They've been making it the same way for 50 years. "Naomi, you're secretly a simple man, aren't you?" "Ethan, don't tell anyone. It'll ruin my reputation." Naomi found herself smiling at her phone more than she should. Tasha noticed. "Girl, who are you texting?" Tasha leaned over during their lunch break at the gym. "My client." "Your billionaire client?" "He's not my billionaire. He's just a client." "Mm-hmm. And I'm the Queen of England." Tasha grabbed Naomi's phone. "Let me see." "No!" Naomi snatched it back, laughing. "It's private." "You like him?" I don't. You're blushing. I'm not. But Naomi could feel the heat in her cheeks. Okay, fine. Maybe he's nice. Nicer than I expected. But that's it. I work for him. That's all. For now. Tasha wiggled her eyebrows. But I've seen the way you talk about your morning runs. You never used to be excited about 6 a.m. Naomi threw a napkin at her. But Tasha was right. She was excited. Every night she fell asleep thinking about their next run, what they'd talk about, how his smile was getting easier, more real. It was dangerous. She knew it was dangerous, but she couldn't seem to stop. Week 4 brought rain. Naomi stood under the gazebo near the lake checking her phone. Ethan was late. That wasn't like him. Then she saw him jogging up the path, completely soaked. Water dripped from his hair. His shirt clung to him. "I'm sorry," he gasped. "Meeting ran long. I came straight from the office. In the rain without a jacket. I didn't want to miss our session." Something in her chest cracked open. "Ethan, we could have rescheduled." "No, we have a training plan. I'm not going to mess it up because of weather." The rain came down harder. Thunder rumbled in the distance. "We can't train in this," Naomi said. "Lightning. So what do we do?" "Wait it out." They sat on the gazebo bench, close together. The rain made everything feel smaller, more intimate. The world narrowed down to just the two of them and the sound of water hitting the roof. Naomi hummed without thinking, an old song her mother used to sing. "That's pretty," Ethan said. "What is it?" "Just something from childhood." "Sing more?" "I can't sing. I don't believe that." So she hummed, quiet and soft. And when she glanced at him, his eyes were closed, his face peaceful, like he'd finally stopped carrying whatever weight usually pressed down on him. Thunder cracked, loud and close. Naomi jumped. Ethan's hand caught hers, steadied her. They both froze. His hand was warm, strong. Their fingers were tangled together. "Sorry," he said, but he didn't let go. "It's okay." She didn't pull away. They sat like that, holding hands, watching the rain, not speaking, not needing to. When the storm finally passed, Ethan stood up, stretched. "I should get home, change into dry clothes." "Yeah, me too." But neither of them moved. "Naomi." "Yeah, He stopped, shook his head. "Never mind. Same time tomorrow?" "Same time." He walked away, but something had shifted. They both felt it. The runs got longer, harder. By week 6, Ethan was running 10 miles without stopping. His form was beautiful now, loose and strong, confident. "You're ready for the marathon," Naomi said one morning. "Your body can do it. What about my mind? That's the real race. The last 6 miles are all mental. Your body will want to quit. You have to push through." "How?" "You think about why you're running, not away from something, towards something. What's your reason, Ethan?" He was quiet for a long moment. They'd reached their bench. The sun was rising, pink and gold. "I'm running for Emma," he said quietly, "to prove I can still do hard things. That grief doesn't get to win." He looked at her. "And maybe I'm running to thank you." "Thank me. You gave me back something I didn't know I'd lost." His voice was rough, emotional. "You made me remember how to be human again, how to trust, how to—" He trailed off. "How to what?" "How to feel." The air between them felt charged, dangerous. Naomi's heart hammered. "Ethan, I know, professional, I remember. I'm not trying to, I just wanted you to know what you've done for me. It matters." She couldn't breathe, couldn't think. All she could do was look at him, at this man who'd been so cold and closed that first morning, who was now standing in front of her, raw and open and real. "It matters to me too," she whispered. His eyes darkened. He stepped closer. But then voices interrupted, other joggers coming up the path. The moment shattered. "I should go," Naomi said. "Ruth's expecting me for breakfast." "Right, of course." She walked away, but she felt his eyes on her the whole time. The marathon was 2 weeks away. Ethan was ready. His body was strong. His times were good. Everything was perfect. Except Naomi was falling in love with him. She knew it was stupid, knew it broke every rule she'd set for herself. But love didn't care about rules. She loved the way he laughed now, the way he remembered little things she said, the way he'd started buying coffee for both of them before their runs, the way he looked at her like she was the only real thing in his whole constructed world. One morning, he showed up with flowers. "What are these for?" she asked. "You." He handed them to her. Daisies. Simple and cheerful. "I was walking past a flower shop and thought of you." "Ethan, we can't—" "I know what we agreed. Professional. But Naomi," he ran a hand through his hair. "Frustrated, vulnerable. I can't stop thinking about you. Every morning I wake up excited just because I get to see you. When something happens, good or bad, you're the first person I want to tell. I don't know what this is, but it's not nothing." Her hands shook. "I'm scared. So am I. People will talk. They already do. And I have a history of trusting the wrong people. I'm not Marcus." His voice was fierce. "I would never hurt you like that, I promise." "You can't promise that. People hurt each other all the time, even when they don't mean to." "Then let me try not to. Let me try to be different, please." She wanted to say yes, wanted it so badly her chest ached. But fear held her back. Fear of being hurt again, fear of losing herself, fear of the judgment that would come. "I need time," she said, "to think. Okay, I'll wait." But waiting was torture, because now it was out there, the truth between them, and ignoring it felt like lying. The marathon arrived bright and sunny, perfect weather. Thousands of runners gathered at the starting line, news cameras everywhere. This was a big event. Naomi stood at the starting line with Ethan. His race number was pinned to his chest. He looked nervous. "You've got this," she said. "Trust your training. Trust yourself. Will you be at the finish line?" "Of course." "Promise?" She squeezed his hand. "Promise." The starting gun fired. Runners surged forward. Naomi watched Ethan disappear into the crowd. Then she headed to the finish line to wait. Mrs. May and Tasha were already there. They'd come to support them both. "He's going to do great," Mrs. May said, "thanks to you." "He did the work," Naomi said. "I just guided him." "Honey, you did more than that. You gave him a reason to try." 3 hours and 42 minutes later, Ethan crossed the finish line, sweaty, exhausted, smiling wider than Naomi had ever seen. He found her in the crowd, pulled her into a hug. She felt his heart racing against hers. "I did it," he gasped. "You did it. Because of you." Reporters swarmed, cameras flashed. Someone shoved a microphone in Ethan's face. "Mr. Royce, how does it feel to complete your first marathon?" "Amazing, challenging, worth it." "Who's the woman you hugged at the finish line?" Ethan's jaw tightened. "My trainer and my friend, Naomi Ellis." Friend. The word stung, but Naomi understood. This wasn't the time or place. After the chaos died down, Ethan pulled her aside. "Can I take you to dinner to celebrate?" She should say no, should keep the boundaries clear, but she was tired of being scared. "Yes," she said. "Dinner sounds perfect." They went to a quiet restaurant by the lake, the same lake where they'd met, where everything had started. Ethan had cleaned up, changed into dark jeans and a button-down shirt. He looked good, too good. Naomi wore a simple dress, nothing fancy, but the way he looked at her made her feel beautiful. They ordered food, talked about the race, about his plans to run another one, about how his legs were going to hurt tomorrow. Then, as dessert arrived, Ethan reached across the table, took her hand. "I meant what I said," he told her. "I'm not Marcus. I'm not going to hurt you, at least not on purpose. And if I ever do, you call me out. You hold me accountable. But please, give us a chance." Naomi looked at their hands, fingers intertwined. It felt right, terrifying and right. "Okay," she whispered, "let's try." His smile could have lit up the whole restaurant. They left holding hands, walked along the lake under the stars. Everything felt perfect, like a dream. But dreams don't last forever. Naomi woke up the next morning to her phone exploding. Texts from Ruth, from Tasha, from numbers she didn't recognize. She opened Instagram, her new account she'd made just to follow clients, and her stomach dropped. The photos were everywhere. Her and Ethan at dinner, holding hands, laughing. One photo caught them standing close by the lake. It almost looked like they were kissing, even though they weren't. The headlines were brutal. "Gold digger gets her prize. Trainer seduces billionaire CEO after marathon. From water bottle to romance, the calculated rise of Naomi Ellis. Secret dates revealed. Did she plan this all along?" The comments were worse. She knew what she was doing from day one. "This is why rich men can't trust anyone. Poor guy, she's using him. How long before she asked for money?" Naomi's hands shook. Her vision blurred. This couldn't be happening again. Not again. Her phone rang. "Ruth." "Naomi, what is going on?" "I don't know. We just went to dinner, that's all, just dinner. The internet is tearing you apart. They're saying terrible things. I know, I see them. You need to end this, now, before it gets worse." "But Ruth, No, listen to me. Men like him, they have teams to handle this stuff. Lawyers, PR people, they'll be fine, but you're going to lose everything. Your job, your reputation, Your peace. Is he worth that? Naomi didn't answer, because she didn't know. She really didn't know. After she hung up, she sat on her bathroom floor and cried, because Ruth was right. This was happening again. The judgment, the assumptions, the world deciding who she was without knowing anything about her. Her phone buzzed. Ethan. Ethan. I saw the news. I'm so sorry. This is my fault. Naomi. It's not your fault. Ethan. It is. I should have been more careful. Can we talk? Please? Naomi. I don't know what to say. Ethan. Then just let me say it. I'm coming over. No, she texted back. Don't. I need space. Ethan. Naomi, please. Don't let them win. But they already had. She could feel it. The cracks in her life spreading wider. Her gym clients started cancelling, one by one. Polite excuses. Schedule conflict. Moving out of state. Not a good fit anymore. But she knew the truth. They didn't want to be associated with her, with the scandal. By the end of the week, she'd lost half her income. Mrs. May was supportive, but even she looked worried. Maybe take some time off, honey. Let this blow over. And if it doesn't blow over? Mrs. May didn't have an answer. Naomi avoided the lake, avoided the park, stayed home, tried to make herself small enough that the world would forget her. Ethan texted every day, called, left voicemails. She didn't respond. Couldn't. Because every time she thought about him, she thought about the headlines, the comments, the life she was losing. Was love supposed to cost this much? She didn't know anymore. All she knew was that she was drowning, and she didn't know how to save herself. On day 7 of silence, Naomi broke. She couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Ethan's face, the way he'd smiled at her over dinner, the way he'd held her hand like she was precious, and she saw the headlines, the comments, the way the world had decided she was a villain. Ruth was right. She needed to end this. Cleanly, finally, before she lost anything else. She got dressed. Real clothes, not pajamas. Put on makeup to hide how tired she looked. Then she drove to the address she'd found online. Royce Technologies. Downtown Boston. A glass tower that touched the sky. The lobby was all marble and chrome. Expensive. Cold. People in suits rushed past with important expressions. Naomi walked to the security desk. I need to see Ethan Royce. The guard looked her up and down. His expression said he knew exactly who she was. Do you have an appointment? No, but he'll want to see me. I'm sure he will. The guard's tone was mocking. But Mr. Royce doesn't see people without appointments. Company policy. Please, just call his office. Tell him Naomi's here. Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. I'm not leaving until I talk to him. The guard reached for his radio. Naomi's face burned with humiliation. Other people were staring now, whispering. What's going on here? A new voice. Naomi turned. A man in his late 20s stood there. Kind eyes, concerned expression. He wore a visitor badge that said, Daniel Price. This woman is refusing to leave, the guard said. I know her. She's with me. Daniel smiled at the guard. Then turned to Naomi. You're Naomi Ellis, right? Ethan's been trying to reach you. I need to talk to him. Come on, I'll take you up. The elevator ride was silent. Daniel kept glancing at her like he wanted to say something but didn't know how. You're his assistant, Naomi said. Daniel. Yeah, and you're the woman who's been making him act like a human being for the first time in 5 years. Daniel smiled sadly. He's a mess, you know. Hasn't slept. Barely eats. Just works and stares at his phone waiting for you to text back. Guilt twisted in Naomi's chest, but she pushed it down. This had to be done. The elevator opened on the top floor. More glass, more chrome. Daniel led her down a hallway to a corner office. Ethan sat at his desk, surrounded by papers and computer screens. He looked terrible. Dark circles under his eyes. Wrinkled shirt. Hair messy like he'd been running his hands through it. Ethan, Daniel said softly. Someone's here to see you. Ethan looked up, saw Naomi. His whole face changed. Hope, relief, pain, all at once. Naomi. He stood so fast his chair rolled backward. You're here. We need to talk. Yes, God, yes. I've been trying to... It's over, she said. The words came out hard. Final. Whatever this was. It's done. The hope died in his eyes. What? I can't do this, Ethan. The headlines. The judgment. I've lost half my clients. People I've known for years won't even look at me now. My sister calls me every day begging me to end it. And for what? For dinner? For holding hands? For more than that. He walked around the desk. Naomi, what we have... We don't have anything. We have a few weeks of running together and one nice dinner. That's not worth destroying my whole life. So you're just giving up, letting them win? I'm protecting myself. Her voice cracked. Something I should have done from the start. I knew better. I knew men like you. Men like me? Anger flashed in his eyes. What does that mean? Rich, powerful, used to getting what you want. You don't understand what this costs people like me. You have lawyers and PR teams. I have nothing. When this blows up, you'll be fine. But me? I'll be the gold digger, the opportunist, the woman who tried to trap a billionaire. I don't care what they say. Well, I do. I have to live in the real world, Ethan. Not in some fantasy where love conquers all and people are kind. She wiped her eyes, angry at herself for crying. This was a mistake. I should have never agreed to train you. Should have never let myself feel something. He stepped closer. Care about someone? Let yourself be happy? Yes, because happiness doesn't last, not for people like me. It gets taken away. They stood there, 3 feet apart, an ocean between them. If that's what you really think, Ethan said quietly, then you're right. We're done. Because I don't want to be with someone who's already decided I'm going to hurt her. Someone who won't even fight for us. His words hit like a slap. That's not fair. None of this is fair. But I thought we were worth fighting for. I guess I was wrong. He turned away, faced the window. Daniel will walk you out. Naomi wanted to scream, to shake him, to make him understand. But what was the point? He lived in a different world. A world where love was simple and consequences didn't exist. Goodbye, Ethan. She walked out. Daniel followed quietly. In the elevator, he said, For what it's worth, he really cares about you. I've never seen him like this with anyone. It doesn't matter, Naomi said. Some things just don't work out. But as she drove home, tears streaming down her face, she knew she was lying. It mattered. It all mattered. She'd just been too scared to fight for it. 3 days later, the internet exploded again. Naomi saw it on the news. Photos of Ethan with a woman, a beautiful blonde woman in an expensive dress. They were at a restaurant. He was holding her hand across the table. The headline, Billionaire CEO reunites with ex-fiancée Lydia Voss after brief fling with trainer. Naomi's heart stopped. She clicked through the articles. They all said the same thing. Ethan and Lydia had been engaged 5 years ago. They'd broken up shortly after his sister's death. Now they were back together, working through old issues, finding their way back to each other. One article included a quote from Lydia. Ethan and I have a history, real history. We understand each other in ways others never could. I'm just happy he's finally ready to let me back in. Naomi stared at the photos. Ethan didn't look happy. He looked tired, trapped. But he was there, with her, holding her hand. She'd been replaced. In 3 days, like she'd never mattered at all. Tasha came over that night, found Naomi on the couch staring at nothing. Babe, you can't let this destroy you. I'm not destroyed. I'm fine. You're not fine. You haven't showered in 3 days. You're eating cereal for dinner. And you're stalking his Instagram. I'm not stalking. You've looked at that photo 17 times. I counted. Naomi threw her phone across the room. Why did I even try? Ruth was right. I should have stayed away from him from the beginning. Ruth's scared for you, but she's not always right. Tasha sat down beside her. What if this whole thing with Lydia is fake? What if she's the one who called the photographers? It doesn't matter. He's with her now. He moved on. End of story. You really believe that after everything? Naomi didn't answer, because she didn't know what she believed anymore. Mrs. May showed up on day 5. She brought soup and bread and a no-nonsense expression that said she wasn't leaving until Naomi ate. You're quitting, Mrs. May said. Not a question, a statement. I can't come back. Everyone knows. Everyone judges. So, let them judge. You haven't done anything wrong. The whole world thinks I'm a gold digger. The whole world is wrong. Mrs. May set down the soup. Honey, I've been alive 65 years. I've seen a lot of stories. And you know what I've learned? The truth always comes out, always. It might take time, but it comes. What if it doesn't? Then you hold your head high anyway. You know who you are. That boy knows who you are. The rest is just noise. That boy is engaged to someone else. That boy is miserable. Mrs. May pulled out her phone, showed Naomi a news article. Look at this picture. Really look. Does he seem happy to you? Naomi looked. Ethan stood next to Lydia at some charity event. His smile didn't reach his eyes. His shoulders were tense. He looked like he was somewhere he didn't want to be. Lydia Voss, Mrs. May continued, is a manipulator. I did some research. She sold his private letters to tabloids during their engagement, broke his trust completely, And now she's back right after he starts healing. That's not coincidence, honey, that's calculation. Even if that's true, what am I supposed to do? Storm his office again? Demand he choose me? No. You do something harder. You trust, you wait, you believe that if it's meant to be, it'll find its way back. I don't know if I can do that. Yes, you can, because you're stronger than you think, and because that man deserves someone who believes in him, even when it's hard. After Mrs. May left, Naomi sat with the soup growing cold, thinking, remembering, Ethan's hands on that injured dog, his smile at the finish line, the way he'd said, "You gave me back something I didn't know I'd lost." Maybe Mrs. May was right. Maybe this wasn't over. Maybe it was time to fight. Naomi started running again, same trail, same time, dawn at the lake. She didn't expect to see him, but on the third morning, there he was, sitting on their bench, alone, staring at the water. She almost turned around, almost ran the other way, but something in the way he sat, shoulders slumped, head down, made her stop. She walked to the bench, sat down, left space between them. "Hi," she said. He looked at her, surprised, hopeful, hurt. "Hi, you look terrible. You look beautiful." The words hung in the air. "I saw the pictures," Naomi said. "You and Lydia. It's not what you think. What should I think?" He ran a hand through his hair. "She showed up at my office the day after you left, said she'd heard about the scandal, wanted to help. I told her to leave, but she kept coming back. And then suddenly there were photographers everywhere. Pictures of us talking. Pictures of us at business events I couldn't avoid. And the stories just happened. So you're saying you're not back together?" "God, no. I hate her. She destroyed my trust once. I'm not giving her another chance." "Then why are you holding her hand in the photos?" "I'm not. Look closer. She's holding mine. Every time I try to pull away, she grabs me, and there's always a camera right there to catch it." His voice was bitter. "She's doing this on purpose. To hurt you. To hurt me. To get attention." Naomi wanted to believe him, wanted it desperately, but she'd been hurt before. "Why didn't you tell me?" "I tried. You wouldn't answer my calls, my texts. You shut me out completely, because I was scared." "Of what?" "Of this," she gestured between them. "Of caring so much it hurts. Of losing everything because people think I'm using you. Of being happy?" The question stopped her. "Yes," she whispered. "I'm scared of being happy. Because every time I am, something takes it away." Ethan moved closer, not touching, but close enough that she could feel his warmth. "I'm scared too," he said, "every day. Of messing this up, of hurting you, of turning into the kind of person who destroys good things. But I'm more scared of losing you, of letting fear make my decisions." He looked at her, really looked. "I love you, Naomi." Her breath caught. "I love you," he repeated. "I've loved you since you cracked that joke about labeling water bottles, since you helped me with the dog, since you made me laugh for the first time in 5 years. And I know that's scary. I know we've only known each other a few months, but I also know that I don't want to spend another day pretending you don't matter." Tears ran down Naomi's face. "I love you too, so much it terrifies me." "Then be terrified with me, but don't walk away, please." She was about to answer when a voice cut through the morning. "How touching." They both turned. Lydia stood on the path. She wore designer sunglasses and a smile that didn't reach her eyes. 2 photographers flanked her. "Lydia," Ethan said coldly, "what are you doing here?" "Following my fiancé, making sure he's safe." She looked at Naomi. "You just can't take a hint, can you? He's moved on. We've moved on. You're yesterday's news." "We're not engaged," Ethan said. "We're not anything. And I'm done playing your games." "Games?" Lydia laughed. "Darling, this isn't a game. This is real life. And in real life, people like me win. People like her." She gestured at Naomi. "They get left behind." Something snapped in Naomi. All the fear, all the shame, all the weeks of hiding. "You know what?" Naomi stood up. "I'm done being scared. Done letting people like you decide what I deserve. Maybe Ethan and I don't work out. Maybe the world keeps judging me. But at least I'll know I was brave enough to try." "Brave?" Lydia's voice dripped with contempt. "You're delusional. He doesn't love you. He just felt sorry for you." "That's not true," Ethan said, standing. "I love her. And you know what else? I'm done protecting your reputation. You sold my private letters to the press. You leaked fake stories about our reunion. You've been manipulating this whole situation for publicity, and I'm done staying quiet about it." Lydia's face went white. "I can't prove that. Actually, I can. Daniel appeared behind her holding a phone. You emailed the photos to 3 different tabloids from your personal email. We traced it yesterday. The photographer's cameras clicked, getting every moment, every word. Lydia's composure cracked. You think you can threaten me? I'll ruin you, both of you. You'll do nothing, Ethan said. Because if you don't leave now, I'm calling the police for harassment. And then I'm releasing a statement with proof of everything you've done. Your choice. For a moment, Lydia just stared. Then she turned and walked away, fast. The photographers followed her, still snapping pictures. Silence fell over the park. Naomi looked at Ethan. Did that really just happen? Yeah, he laughed, shaky but real. Yeah, it did. The photographers got everything. Good. Let them. Let the world know the truth. More reporters appeared, running up the path, cameras and microphones everywhere. Mr. Royce, is it true you're not engaged? Mr. Royce, can you comment on the allegations against Lydia Voss? Ethan took Naomi's hand, faced the cameras. I'll make one statement, he said. Then we're done. Lydia Voss and I broke up 5 years ago. We are not engaged, we are not together. She has been manipulating media coverage for her own publicity. As for this woman, he squeezed Naomi's hand. Naomi Ellis is a fitness instructor who helped me train for a marathon. She's kind, honest and strong. She made me remember how to be human again after years of isolation. And yes, I love her. The rest of what you've heard is lies. Cameras flashed, questions erupted, but Ethan ignored them. He turned to Naomi. Let's go home. She nodded. And together they walked away from the chaos. They went to the lake, found a quiet spot away from reporters, sat on the grass and watched the water. That was insane, Naomi said. Yeah, you just told the whole world you love me. I did. On camera. She laughed. Couldn't help it. You really don't do anything halfway, do you? Not anymore. He pulled her close. I'm sorry I pushed you away at my office. I was trying to protect you. Thought if I seemed cold, people would leave you alone. But I was wrong. I should have fought for us from the beginning. I'm sorry, too, for shutting you out, for being too scared to trust. Are you still scared? Terrified? But I'm here anyway. He kissed her. Soft and sweet and perfect. The world fell away. The cameras, the judgment, the fear. Nothing existed except this moment, this man, this feeling of finally being home. When they pulled apart, Naomi said, So what now? Now we figure it out. Together. One day at a time. No pressure. No expectations. Just us. Just us sounds perfect. They sat there until the sun was high. Talking. Planning. Dreaming about a future that finally felt possible. The next few weeks were surreal. The video of Lydia's confrontation went viral. News outlets ran stories exposing her manipulation. Public opinion shifted. Suddenly Naomi wasn't the villain anymore. She was the victim, the kind woman who'd been unfairly judged. Messages flooded her phone, apologies from clients, support from strangers, interview requests from morning shows. She ignored most of it, turned down the interviews, blocked the trolls, focused on rebuilding her life. Her clients came back. New ones appeared. Mrs. May hired her full-time to manage the gym's training program. Things were finally settling. Ruth even came to visit. She met Ethan over coffee at Naomi's apartment. So you're the billionaire, Ruth said. Not unfriendly, but testing. I'm Ethan. He shook her hand. And I'm crazy about your sister. You hurt her, and I'll make your life miserable. I don't care how much money you have. Fair enough. Ruth studied him, then looked at Naomi. He's different than Marcus. I told you. He looks at you like you're the only person in the room. Marcus never did that. After Ruth left, Ethan turned to Naomi. Did I pass? With flying colors. Good, because I have something to ask you. He pulled out his keys, held them up. I know it's fast, and maybe crazy, but my apartment has 3 bedrooms. I barely use them, and I hate when you leave at night, so... He took a breath. Move in with me? Naomi's eyes went wide. Ethan, not because I'm trying to control you, not because I think you can't afford your own place, just because I want to wake up next to you every morning. I want to come home to you every night. I want our lives to be tangled up together in the best possible way. She thought about it, really thought. About fear, about trust, about taking risks. Okay, she said. Yes. His smile was brighter than the sun. 6 months later, Naomi jogged up to their bench. The sunrise painted the lake in shades of pink and gold. Fall was coming. Leaves turned red and yellow. The air felt crisp. Ethan was already there. 2 water bottles sat between them. One black, one pink. Hey, she said, kissing him. Been here long? Just a few minutes. Wanted to watch the sunrise. She sat beside him, picked up her pink bottle, took a sip. Remember the first time we sat here? He asked. When you yelled at me for stealing your water. I didn't yell. You were very cold and intimidating. I was an idiot. She leaned against his shoulder. You were hurt. There's a difference. I'm not hurt anymore. He kissed the top of her head. Thanks to you. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the world wake up. Runners passed by. A family of ducks swam in formation. Life happened all around them. You know, Naomi said, if someone had told me a year ago that one sip of water would change my whole life, I wouldn't have believed them. Best accidental theft ever. I didn't steal it. I borrowed it. Without asking. You left it unattended. He laughed. That real laugh she'd worked so hard to unlock. You'll never live that down. Apparently not. He turned serious, cupped her face in his hands. I love you, Naomi Ellis. I love your stubbornness, your kindness, your courage. I love how you make me want to be better, how you make the world feel less scary. I love... She kissed him, long and deep and perfect. When they pulled apart, she whispered, I love you too, even though you hold grudges about water bottles. It's who I am. They sat there as the sun climbed higher. Two people who'd been broken, who'd been scared, who'd found each other by accident and stayed on purpose. The lake sparkled, the birds sang, and on a bench by the water, two bottles sat side by side, one black, one pink, together, just like it was always meant to be. 2 weeks after the confrontation with Lydia, Naomi stood in front of the gym's main training room. It looked different. New equipment lined the walls, state-of-the-art treadmills, weight machines that still had that fresh from the factory smell, yoga mats in every color, resistance bands organized by strength level. Mrs. May appeared beside her, grinning like she'd won the lottery. Can you believe it, Mrs. May said. All this equipment, donated by an anonymous benefactor, who just happened to call the same day you mentioned we needed updates. Naomi smiled. Very mysterious. Very mysterious indeed. Mrs. May nudged her. You wouldn't happen to know anything about this anonymous benefactor, would you? Not a thing. Right. And I'm the Queen of England. Mrs. May's expression softened. He's a good man, Naomi. The kind who gives without needing credit. That's rare. I know. Tasha burst through the door, phone in hand. Girl, have you seen this? She showed Naomi the screen. A news article. Tech CEO Ethan Royce launches initiative to support small fitness centers across Boston. The article detailed a new program, grants for gyms in underserved neighborhoods, free equipment, training certification scholarships, all funded by Royce Technologies. He's doing all this? Tasha asked. Apparently. Because of you. Naomi felt her cheeks warm. Because he's a good person who wants to help. Because you taught him how to care again. Mrs. May corrected. Don't downplay what you've done, honey. You changed that man's whole outlook on life. Before Naomi could respond, her first client of the day arrived. A new student. Young woman, maybe 25, who'd signed up after seeing Naomi's story in the news. I just think you're so brave, the woman said during their consultation. Standing up to all that judgment. Not giving up when things got hard. You're like a real-life inspiration. Naomi didn't feel inspiring. She felt like someone who'd stumbled through a mess and somehow found her way out. But she smiled and said thank you and got to work. The session went well. The woman was eager to learn, asked good questions, listened to instructions. Afterward, she booked 10 more sessions. You're really good at this, she said. I can see why Mr. Royce chose you as his trainer. After she left, Naomi sat in the empty training room, thought about how much had changed, how many mornings she'd woken up terrified that her whole life was falling apart, how close she'd come to giving up completely, but she hadn't, and now things were better than ever. Her phone buzzed. Ethan, how was your morning? Naomi, good, busy. Someone made an anonymous donation to the gym. Very generous of them. Ethan, sounds like a smart person. Naomi, also suspiciously timed. Ethan, coincidences happen. Naomi, thank you. Really, Ethan, you don't have to thank me. I wanted to do it. Naomi, still, thank you. Ethan, dinner tonight? I'm making pasta. Naomi, you're cooking? Ethan, I'm attempting to cook. Big difference. Come save me if it goes badly. Naomi, I'll bring wine. Ethan, perfect. I love you. Naomi, love you too. She stared at the words on her screen. 6 months ago, the idea of loving someone again had seemed impossible, dangerous. a guaranteed path to more pain. Now it felt like the most natural thing in the world. That evening, Naomi let herself into Ethan's apartment. Their apartment, she corrected herself. She'd officially moved in 2 weeks ago. Her toothbrush sat next to his in the bathroom. Her books filled half the bookshelf. Her running shoes lived by the door. It still felt surreal sometimes, walking into this beautiful space and knowing she belonged here. The smell of garlic and tomatoes filled the air. She followed it to the kitchen and stopped in the doorway. Ethan stood at the stove, wearing an apron that said, "Kiss the cook." His hair was messy. Flour dusted his cheek. He stirred a pot of sauce with intense concentration, like it was a business negotiation. "You actually did it," Naomi said. "You're cooking." He looked up, smiling. "I'm following a recipe, very carefully. So far, nothing's burned. That's progress." She set down the wine and walked over, kissed him, tasting tomato on his lips. "How's the sauce?" she asked. "Taste it and tell me." She dipped a spoon in. The sauce was rich and flavorful. A little too much oregano, but good. "It's perfect," she lied. "Liar, what's wrong with it?" "Nothing." "Naomi." "Fine. Maybe a tiny bit too much oregano." He groaned. "I followed the recipe exactly. Sometimes recipes need adjusting." She reached for the spice cabinet. "Here, add some sugar, just a pinch. It'll balance the flavors." They cooked together. Well, Naomi gave instructions, and Ethan followed them with the same intensity he probably used in board meetings. The pasta turned out good. Not restaurant quality, but homemade and warm and made with love. They ate on the balcony. The city spread out below them, lights twinkling like stars. The air was cool but not cold. Perfect October weather. "I like this," Ethan said. "Coming home to you, cooking dinner, just being normal. This is pretty fancy for normal people." He laughed. "You know what I mean. No cameras, no pressure, just us." "Just us," Naomi agreed. They finished eating and moved to the couch. Ethan pulled her close. She rested her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat. "Ruth called me today," he said. Naomi sat up. "She did?" "Yeah. Asked if I wanted to come to Sunday dinner next week. Meet the whole family." "Oh, God. Really? Really?" I said yes. Was that okay?" "More than okay. That's huge. Ruth doesn't invite just anyone to family dinner." "So I passed the test?" "You passed the test." She kissed him softly. "She still threatened to ruin you if you hurt me, right?" "Twice. Very creative threats, too. I respect it." Naomi laughed. Her chest felt full, happy. This was what peace felt like, what home felt like. Not a place, a person. Sunday dinner with Ruth was exactly as terrifying and wonderful as Naomi expected. Ruth's house was small and cozy. Family photos covered every wall. The smell of cornbread and fried chicken filled the air. Ruth's husband, Marcus, not that Marcus, a different one, a good one, was a gentle giant who worked construction and gave bone-crushing hugs. Their kids, 10 and 12, immediately attached themselves to Ethan. "Are you really a billionaire?" the 10-year-old asked. "Marcus Jr., Ruth scolded. "That's rude." "It's okay," Ethan said. "Yes, I am, but that's just money. It's not the interesting part of me." "What's the interesting part?" the 12-year-old asked. "Well, I can juggle, and I know 73 digits of pi, and I once ate an entire pizza by myself in under 20 minutes. The kid's eyes went wide. "Can you teach us to juggle?" After dinner, they talked through the meal, about Ethan's company, about Ruth's job as a nurse, about the kids' schools, about family and memories and life. It felt normal, comfortable, like Ethan had always been part of this. After dessert, peach cobbler that made Naomi want to cry, it was so good, Ruth pulled her aside in the kitchen. "He's different than I expected," Ruth said. "Good different?" "Yeah. He looks at you like you hung the moon, and he's patient with the kids, and he ate 2 helpings of everything I made, which means he's either very polite or he actually liked it." "He liked it. Trust me." Ruth hugged her, tight and fierce. "You deserve this, baby sister. You deserve someone who loves you like this. I'm sorry I was so skeptical at first. You were protecting me, I get it. I just didn't want you to get hurt again. After Marcus, the bad Marcus, I couldn't stand the thought of watching you go through that pain again." "I know, but Ethan's not him. He's good, really good." "I see that now." Ruth pulled back, wiping her eyes. "Mom would have liked him." The words hit Naomi hard. Their mother had died 3 years ago. Cancer. Quick and cruel. She'd been the one who always believed in love, who said the right person would come when you least expected it. "Yeah," Naomi whispered. "She would have." Later, as they drove home, Ethan reached over and took her hand. "Your family is wonderful," he said. "They liked you." Good, because I like them too. He glanced at her. Thank you for letting me into your life. All of it. The messy parts and the beautiful parts and everything in between. Thank you for staying. Even when it got hard. Especially when it got hard. That's when it matters most. They drove through the city, past the lake where they'd met, past the gym where they'd reconnected, past all the places that held their story. And Naomi thought about fate, about water bottles and chance encounters, about how sometimes the worst moments lead to the best things. 3 months later, winter settled over Boston. Snow covered the ground. The lake froze in patches. But Naomi and Ethan still ran together every morning. Today was special, though. 1 year since that first morning. 1 year since the accidental sip that changed everything. They met at their bench at dawn. Snow crunched under their feet. Their breath made clouds in the cold air. 1 year, Ethan said. 1 year, Naomi agreed. A lot has changed. Everything has changed. He pulled out 2 water bottles from his bag. One black, one pink. Both had labels now. His said, "Ethan, do not drink," in big letters. Hers said, "Naomi's, seriously, ask first." She laughed. We learned our lesson. Had to, can't risk another viral scandal. He handed her the pink bottle. Although, if I'm honest, I'm grateful for that first scandal. Otherwise, we might never have really talked. We would have found each other eventually. You think? I know. The universe wanted us together. It just needed a push. They sat on the bench, drank their water, watched the sun rise over the frozen lake. The world was quiet, peaceful, perfect. "I have something for you," Ethan said. "It's not our anniversary yet." "I know, but I couldn't wait." He pulled a small box from his jacket pocket. Naomi's heart stopped. "Ethan, it's not what you think. I mean, it is jewelry, but not that. Not yet. When I propose, you'll know. It'll be big and dramatic because that's apparently how I do things now." He opened the box. Inside was a delicate necklace, a small pendant shaped like a water bottle, half black, half pink. She laughed and cried at the same time. "You did not." "I did. Had it custom made. See?" He lifted it out. "There's an engraving on the back." She read it. "Where it all began. I wanted you to have something to remember," he said softly. "That sometimes the biggest mistakes turn into the best things. That sometimes what looks like an ending is actually a beginning." She couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. Just let him fasten the necklace around her neck. The pendant rested right over her heart. "I love it," she finally managed. "I love you." "I love you too. More than I thought I could love anything." They kissed as the sun painted the sky gold and pink, as the world woke up around them, as life continued in all its messy, beautiful complexity. When they pulled apart, Naomi said, "You know what's funny?" "What?" "A year ago, I was so angry at you. Thought you were the worst kind of person. Cold and cruel and heartless. I was cold. You weren't wrong. But you weren't heartless. You were just hurt, protecting yourself the only way you knew how. And you taught me there was another way." He tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. "You taught me that being vulnerable isn't weakness, that letting people in is scary but worth it, that love is the bravest thing we can do." We taught each other. Yeah, we did. They sat in comfortable silence. Other joggers passed by. Some recognized them and smiled. Others were strangers, lost in their own worlds. The lake sparkled under the rising sun. "Do you ever think about that day?" Naomi asked. "What would have happened if I hadn't picked up your water bottle? All the time. We probably would have never met. I'd still be cold and lonely. You'd still be guarding your heart. Funny how one small choice can change everything." "Not funny, magical." She leaned against his shoulder, touched the necklace at her throat. "So what now? Now we keep going. We keep running together. Keep choosing each other. Keep building this life. That sounds perfect." "Yeah? Yeah." A duck landed on the ice, skidding slightly before finding its balance. They both laughed. "Nature is so graceful," Ethan deadpanned. "Just like us. Remember when you tripped over that tree root during training? I didn't trip, I strategically avoided it. You face-planted. Strategically face-planted." She loved this. The teasing, the ease, the way they could make each other laugh over nothing, the way silence between them never felt empty. "Ready to run?" Ethan asked. "Always." They stood up, stretched, started jogging side by side. Their pace matched perfectly now. They'd learned each other's rhythms, knew when to push and when to slow down, when to talk and when to just be. The path stretched ahead of them, covered in snow but familiar. Safe, home. And on the bench behind them, 2 water bottles sat side by side. One black, one pink. Labels clear for anyone to see. Different, but together. Separate, but connected. Just like the two people who owned them. Later that day, Naomi taught 3 classes at the gym. Between sessions, she checked her phone and found a text from Ethan. Ethan, Daniel just told me the charity marathon raised twice as much as last year. Your training program is officially a success. They want us to do it again next year. Naomi, us? Ethan, I'm not running another marathon without you. You're stuck with me. Naomi, good. I'm not letting you ruin your form with bad habits. Ethan, see, we need each other. Naomi, we really do. Ethan, come home soon. I'm cooking again. Naomi, should I be worried? Ethan, probably, but I promise to only burn things slightly. Naomi, my hero. She smiled at her phone. Mrs. May walked by and chuckled. That man has you glowing, Mrs. May said. Is it that obvious? Honey, you walk around here like you're floating. It's beautiful to see. You deserve all this happiness. Sometimes I'm scared I'll wake up and it'll all be gone. That's the fear talking. Don't let it win. You fought too hard to get here. Naomi touched the necklace at her throat. The little water bottle pendant, a reminder of beginnings, of chances, of love that grows from unexpected places. You're right, she said. I did fight hard. We both did. And you'll keep fighting. That's what love is, choosing each other every single day, even on the hard days, especially on the hard days. Mrs. May hugged her. I'm proud of you, sweetie. Your mama would be proud too. After work, Naomi drove to the apartment, her home now, fully and completely. She found Ethan in the kitchen concentrating on a pot of soup. The kitchen was messy, but no smoke alarms were going off. Progress. I'm home, she called out. He looked up, his whole face lit up. Hey, you. Hey. She walked over and kissed him, tasted the soup on his lips. Chicken noodle? Your favorite. I called Ruth for the recipe. You called my sister for cooking advice? She's a good teacher, very patient with my questions, also slightly terrifying. Naomi laughed. That's Ruth. They ate dinner together. The soup was actually good. A little too much salt, but Ethan was learning, getting better, trying. Afterward, they sat on the balcony despite the cold, wrapped in blankets, watching the city lights. I've been thinking, Ethan said, about the future, our future. Naomi's heart picked up speed. And? I want everything with you. Marriage. Maybe kids someday if you want them. A house with a big backyard. Growing old together. All of it. That sounds nice. Nice? He raised an eyebrow. I pour my heart out and you say nice. Okay, it sounds perfect. Absolutely perfect. Better than perfect. Is there a word better than perfect? I'll take that. He kissed her forehead. We'll take our time. No rush. But I wanted you to know where my head is. Where my heart is. My heart's in the same place. They stayed there until the cold drove them inside. Made hot chocolate. Watched a movie neither of them paid attention to because they were too busy talking, planning, dreaming. When they finally went to bed, Naomi lay awake for a while, listening to Ethan breathe beside her, feeling grateful, content, home. She thought about the girl she'd been a year ago, scared and hurt and closed off, building walls to protect herself. She thought about the man beside her, who'd been just as scared, just as hurt, just as closed. And she thought about how they'd found each other anyway, how they'd chosen to be brave, to try, to love despite all the reasons not to. It hadn't been easy. There had been judgment and pain, and moments where giving up seemed simpler, but they'd pushed through, together. And now here they were, building a life, making plans, facing the future as a team. Naomi touched the necklace at her throat one more time, the little water bottle catching moonlight from the window, where it all began, because of one accidental sip, one chance encounter, one choice to stay instead of run. She smiled in the darkness and let sleep take her. 6 months later, spring arrived. The snow melted, flowers bloomed, the lake thawed and sparkled under warm sunshine. Naomi and Ethan returned to their bench. Same time, same place. But everything was different now. She wore a ring on her left hand. Simple, elegant, perfect. He'd proposed 2 months ago, on this very bench, at dawn with the sunrise painting the sky. He'd been nervous and fumbling and absolutely perfect. The wedding was planned for September, small and intimate, just family and close friends. Ruth was the maid of honor. Daniel was the best man. They'd get married by the lake where everything started. But today wasn't about the wedding. Today was just about them. They sat on the bench, their bench, the one that held so much history. Remember when you hated me? Ethan asked. I didn't hate you, I thought you were rude and entitled. So you hated me. A little bit, she admitted, laughing, but only for like 10 minutes. 10 minutes? I think it was longer. Okay, maybe a day or two. He pulled her close. And now? Now I'm stuck with you forever. That's what this ring means. Forever sounds good. Forever sounds perfect. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the world, existing together in that easy way that only comes with deep love and trust. A young couple jogged past. The woman grabbed the man's water bottle off a nearby bench, took a sip. He laughed and said something teasing. Naomi and Ethan looked at each other, smiled. Think that's their beginning? Naomi asked. Maybe. Or maybe they're already together and this is just a Tuesday. Either way, they look happy. We look happy too. We are happy. Ethan pulled out 2 water bottles. Their bottles. The ones with the labels. The ones they brought every morning. You know what I realized? He said. What? I never did get to finish that water. The one you stole. Borrowed. Stole. Are you ever going to forgive me? Never. But his eyes were full of love, full of joy. That stolen sip was the best thing that ever happened to me. To us. To us, he agreed. They drank from their bottles. His black, hers pink. Then, without discussing it, they switched. She drank from his. He drank from hers. There, Naomi said. Now we're even. We were always even. We just didn't know it yet. The sun climbed higher, warm on their faces. The lake sparkled. Birds sang. Life continued in all its messy, beautiful glory. And on a bench by the water, 2 people sat together. 2 people who'd found each other by accident, who'd chosen each other on purpose, who'd built a love that survived judgment and fear and all the obstacles the world threw at them. 2 people who proved that sometimes the wrong moment is actually the right one, that sometimes mistakes are really miracles in disguise, that sometimes all you need is one chance encounter and the courage to see where it leads. Naomi looked at Ethan, at this man who'd transformed from ice to warmth, from closed to open, from alone to loved. I'm glad I drank your water, she said. I'm glad you did too. Even though you yelled at me? I didn't yell. I was firmly speaking. You were cold and mean. I was protective of my hydration, she laughed. God, she loved him, loved his stupid jokes and his soft heart and the way he'd changed everything without even trying. Want to run? She asked. Always. They stood up, left their bottles on the bench, labeled clearly this time, started jogging, side by side, step by step, breath by breath, together, the way they'd be for the rest of their lives, the way it was always meant to be. And if you happened to walk past that bench later, you'd see 2 water bottles sitting there in the sunshine, one black, one pink, side by side, a reminder that love begins in the strangest places, that connection can bloom from chaos, that sometimes the worst first impression leads to the best last chapter. The bottles remained there all day, untouched, unclaimed, until 2 people returned at sunset to claim them, together, as they always would be, forever.